new that are jumping on this call. It's like, dude, it was wild. I was talking to another guy that I helped. I didn't even mentor him. I actually mentored his mentor. I think I mentored his mentor's mentor. I don't know. He was a guy that was in my group for like, but I never really personally worked with him. And was talking to him for like an hour today. He's a networker making a 7-figure income, and talking to him obviously about what we're doing at Riman. But he's just talking about those early days, and it just made me realize, like, man, I remember when the guy that he worked with that taught him how to do network marketing was brand new, and he was just jumping on calls like this, and coming to trainings like this, and developing and growing. And it's like, man, there's people right now that are on this call that are going to become some of the biggest mentors in this profession because they're learning it, right? They're learning the stuff that my mentor taught me. It just blows my mind away to think about it, and tonight's topic is huge, right? We're talking about overcoming objections, and this is like probably the number one skill set you can learn. Like, honestly, if you once you learn how to overcome objections, it's literally, it's like you're like printing money at that standpoint. Like you can't rob a bank and make the type of money you're going to be making once you know how to overcome objections. So it's going to be interesting. Like, it's going to be really interesting what transpires after a call like this. It's almost like it's such a strong ability. To me, it's kind of like my mentor always told me, he's like, you got to be careful who you teach this stuff to. He goes, because it's a weapon. He goes, like, a gun can save somebody's life if it's in the right hands, but it also can take a life if it's in the wrong hands. So sometimes I'm like reluctant to kind of share this type of knowledge with people, just from the standpoint, like, I know some of your hearts, I know some of you are great people. I know some of you really care. And hopefully that's the only people that we got on this call. Hopefully we don't have people on this call that don't really have the right heart, because if you have the right heart and you learn this skill set, you can take people anywhere you want to go. You really can. So I'm going to do the best that I can in the time restraints, but I hope today you feel to use this to help people, right? To grow and develop and to get the very best out of everybody, right? Because I'm going to be sharing with you this insights tonight, and I'm really excited about it, right? So I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up the slide deck. We're going to go through this real fast. But in order for you to become a director, now, can you become a director, and not know how to yeah, but I don't think you're really going to, I don't think, whoa, hello, we're just getting carried away here. Here we go. I don't think you can become like a top producing director or long-term, top producing director. Consistent should be probably the word I use, unless you really know how to overcome objections. So tonight, this training on mastering overcoming objections, I just really, really, really pray that your heart's in the right place. And if it's not, I would rather you just jump off. Like, if you're not sure if you're a good person, just jump off the Zoom right now. Like, nobody's going to make fun of you or whatever, but we're looking for good people. I taught this skill set to so many people. And as I look back at my career, I think that the people that I taught it to that didn't have the right heart, they went out there and they did bad. You know what I mean? They got out of network marketing and got into other businesses, and some of them ended up hurting people. So you really got to realize you got to have a good heart, and you got to really care about people, and so tonight I'm going to talk about mastering overcoming objections. And so you can become a director, but please use this for good, because it's a very powerful skill set. So I'm going to go over really like 7 secrets on how to do this. But the first thing is you got to be relational, not transactional. And this kind of leads into what I was teeing up with to begin with. But here's the way I look at it. Like, as a leader, you got to be aware that every excuse, every complaint, or every reason for not taking massive action is just an objection. And as a leader, right, you have to remove that. So when you talk to people, I was talking about this last night at the university. For some of you that are local in Southern California, you get the opportunity to be able to take advantage of that. But I was kind of hinting and alluding to that, like, last night, is because when I'm working with somebody, if they're not running, if they're not taking massive action, what do I know? There's some type of an objection that they're hanging on to as a reason to not moving forward. Like, you got to realize it. So sometimes people think objection is like transactional, right? Where it's like, okay, I got to overcome these objections so I can get somebody to close the deal and get them in the business. Well, I mean, essentially, yeah, you're right, but you got to do it for the right reasons. I'm not signing people up in Riman for what's in it for me. I'm doing it for what's in it for them. You got to focus in on helping people, because Riman's a solution. Right? It doesn't make a difference if we're talking about your appearance or whether it's about becoming successful financially. You don't become successful in Riman by signing up a lot of people. You become successful in Riman by helping a lot of people succeed. Okay. So in order to help somebody succeed, when you're working with somebody, if they are constantly complaining about, mainly if you're working with a group of people, if you're a team leader hire, or you're a senior manager running for team leader, you got multiple people you're working with. If you hear the same complaint over and over and over again from your organization, that means you're not doing an adequate job of removing that. And probably it's because that you've got that objection is something that's a soft spot for you that you haven't really removed out of your own mind, right? For me, like what is it? Like, think about it for a second. Like, you don't have to type it into the chat box, but just think about it for a second. In my mind, is there a good idea or a good reason or a good excuse not to run hard? Think about it. No, because if there was a good excuse not to run hard, guess what I would be doing? I wouldn't be running hard. I wouldn't be giving it everything that I got. You see, like, as you look at it, there's no objections in my mind. There's no, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh God, this is a reason why I don't think I should run hard. If I had something like that, I wouldn't be running hard. So when you have people in your organization aren't running hard, why is that? It's because there's an objection that they're hanging on to. And maybe it's you. If you're not running hard and you're not giving your absolute very best, there might be something in your own mind that you need to be able to be aware of that you've got to remove in order for you to be able to run hard. Yeah. Now, for me, there's no objection. There's no complaint. My mentor said you can't complain and succeed at the same time, right? Because if you're complaining about something, your organization, he said, you got to give yourself a checkup from the neck up, right? You got to give yourself a checkup from the neck up. What's your mindset? What's your attitude? And if there's something that like you're complaining about, guess what's going to happen? It's going to affect your organization. It's going to affect your team because you're not going to give your absolute very best. If you're not giving your absolute very best and the people that are following your lead, what do you think they're going to do? Right? They're not going to do their absolute very best. So you have to be aware if somebody has an excuse that they keep using or they have a complaint. And a complaint, an excuse, an objection to me is all the exact same thing. It's something that you're holding on to in your mind that's stopping you from moving forward. So it's the same thing with anything. Like if you love the products and you're like, everybody in the world needs these products. That's my mindset. Right? There's no debating it. Like you can't look at my face and not know like, all right, dude, the dude's using the products. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows I'm guilty as charged right here. You know what I mean? Like I'm using these products. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm glowing, so there's no excuse in my mind not to use these products. There's no excuse in my mind that I think like, oh, Riman's not perfect for everybody. Doesn't matter. I think Riman's perfect for everybody. Now, I might not be able to relay that message to everybody properly and get everybody started in the business, but in my mind, in my heart, this is for everybody. And everybody that's in Riman, it's like, there's no excuse in my mind not to talk to everybody I know. Like there's nobody that I want to be like, all right, I don't want to talk to everybody I know. It's like, for me, it's like, I'm in Riman. As soon as I get started, as soon as I got in Riman, guess what? I knew that everybody that knew me is going to know that I'm in Riman. So I might as well introduce them to what I'm doing. Give them the opportunity to at least KNOW know what they want. If somebody's going to say no to my opportunity, they at least need to KNOW what it is. And I want them to find out through me, not through somebody else. So guess what I did? I just talked to everybody I know. And I take massive action on a consistent basis, right? Somebody goes, well, that's easy to do, Tim. If I had your check, I'd be running too. You got to realize I was running my first month. We were senior managers. I don't even know if Chris and I's first check was even $1,000. I think it was less than $1,000, right? Somebody goes, man, that's terrible. Yeah, the first month we didn't break any records, right? But then the second month, once we were team leaders, we were making a ton of money. So it was like, I was just like, dang, let's run. So you just got to realize there's no objection in my mind for not running hard. There's no excuse that I'm going to make. And that's where you got to be at. And you just know if you're running hard, you're in. If you're not running hard, like you don't have to fake it to your upline, your downline, your sideline. You just got to know in your mind, am I doing my absolute very best? And there's no question in my mind, I can't run any harder. Right? I'm giving it everything I got, right? So let's talk about it. Every leader shows up to an objection with either a bucket of gasoline or a bucket of water. This is so important. So when people have objections in our business, whether it's getting somebody as a customer, getting somebody in the business as a planner, getting somebody to get committed to convention, Like, you understand? You know, anybody that knows me knows there's no objection in my mind that would ever, in my personal, nothing that would stop me from going to a convention. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. So when I talk to somebody, is there a good excuse that you think they can give me that's going to get me to say, all right, you're right. You shouldn't go? Heck no. There's no excuse that somebody can give me. People are like, damn, you always get me excited, man. You get me fired up. You get me motivated. You make me get me wanting to do stuff. Yeah, because I'm convinced myself of it. And all I have to do is relay that information to you. Right? And if I can relay that information to you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to run hard too. So it's like, it's all about removing objections. Everything in our business is. Like, somebody's like, I was talking to a guy earlier, right? In UK, I was doing a call with the UK team at 1 o'clock this afternoon, 9 o'clock their time with one of my UK organizations. A couple of the team leaders from the UK were on there with some of their team. And I was just fielding questions. And one of the guys like, I do a lot of presentations. I sign a lot of people up, but I don't get duplication. Perfect. That means that there's a challenge right there that you're not removing to get people to launch properly. Right? Maybe it might be you're getting a first down and you're celebrating too much instead of getting a touchdown, right? My objective is not to get people in the business. My objective is to make people directors, right? It's not about creating team leaders. A lot of people are like, all you got to do is create a lot of team leaders. You're going to make a lot of money. Well, you create a lot of directors. If you create a lot of directors, you're going to make a lot of money, right? Because what do we want to have? You want to have a bunch of people becoming senior managers. I could try to convince everybody on the planet that creating senior managers is the way to go, or I can convince one person to want to be a director. If I get one person running for director, I already know that in order for them to get there, they've got to create a lot of senior managers. So a lot of people are going to succeed as a result of that. So my objective today is not to get the people that are participants on this call all to do a little bit more. I'm looking for one person that wants to run and become wealthy. That's it. Because as a result of that, if I can find one person who wants to run and maximize the compensation and the rewards, what's going to happen is they're going to create a ton of success as a result of that. Meaning they're going to help a ton of people become successful. So I don't have to convince everybody. I just got to convince one of you. If I can get one of you to see it the way that I see it, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's done. It's game over. Okay? It's game over. That's all you're always trying to do, is trying to get other people to see the business the way that you see it. But first you have to make sure that you see it the right way. So let's get into this, okay? Every leader shows up with a bucket of gasoline or a bucket of water to a problem, to an objection, to an excuse, to a complaint, whatever it is. It's all the same thing. So my job is to put out water, put out a fire before it spreads, right? That's what you do as a leader. It's super simple. So always remember, you got to be relational, not transactional. And the reason why you do all this is to help people succeed, right? It's to help people succeed. It's almost like you're a coach and you're coaching people. But the best way to coach somebody is by example. If you lead by example, my mentor said you can judge by results. So relational means you care more about the person. Let me give you a breakdown. Transactional people focus on outcomes, right? Goals, specific goals and outcomes. But relational people focus on the long-term connection, right? So that's the reason why it's so important not to abrasively remove an objection. We'll talk about it today, okay? The motivation is completely different. A transactional person is focusing on their own self-interest and their immediate gains. But a relational transaction, you're focusing on mutual benefits. You're focusing on connecting with them. Okay? If your transactional is short-term task-oriented, but relational is long-term emotionally invested. Transactional people, superficial. Relational people, deep. Transactional people, they want a quick business deal. Relational people want a long-term close friendship. Okay? So we're looking to develop people long-term, okay? It was like you're looking for people that are going to be friends for you and for life, where it's like, no matter what, we're family, right? And that's really what we're trying to accomplish here. So let's talk a little bit about, there's a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And he talks about 5 keys to creating a win-win agreement, right? Mutual benefit. Win-win agreements focus on solutions that benefit everybody involved, not just one party. You're looking to create win-win agreements, right? He says that cooperation, it's a mindset of collaboration and working together to achieve shared goals. So you're looking to help them get what they want. In return, you'll get what you want. But you can get everything in life you want if you focus on helping enough other people get what they want, right? So it's cooperation. It's understanding it's an abundance mentality. It's based on the belief that there's enough for everybody. And one person's success doesn't come at the expense of others, doesn't come at the calamity of others. You understand? It comes as a result of helping other people, right? So understand that you've got to have high courage and consideration, right? Win-win, creating win-win agreements, right? Win-win situations for everybody. It requires both standing up for your own needs and being considerate of the needs of others. So focusing on helping other people get what it is that they want. And obviously, number 5 out of the 5 keys to creating win-win agreements is building trust. Win-win agreements foster stronger, more trusting relationships. Okay, we're looking to do what? Develop relationships with people. Why are you recruiting people into your business? To strengthen relationships. Why are you getting people to use the products, to fall in love with the products, to create better relationships? You have to blow people's minds away by your ability to serve them. Right? Leadership is servanthood, nothing more, nothing less, right? So here's one of the biggest things. I talk about this a lot, but heart before the hand reminders. To help somebody get what they're looking for, first you've got to find out what they're looking for, okay? You got to find out what is it that somebody wants. If you know what they want, you can help them get it. But if you don't first find out what somebody wants, how can you ever help them get it? You're looking to help people get what it is they want. Number 2 is discover why they want what they want. So when you find out what somebody wants, you have to discover why they want it. What's the emotional connection to them getting that result, okay? And then obviously become the master of family, occupation, recreation, money, forming people. When I do an hour one-on-one with somebody, when I'm recruiting people, I do one-on-ones. Like all day long, I do like about 5 to 10 one-on-ones a day on Zoom, right? Sometimes it's 2-on-1. Usually it's 2-on-1s, right? Somebody's got a prospect for me to talk to. But all I'm doing is I'm creating a relationship with them, right? I'm finding out about them. So at the beginning, before I try to tell somebody why they need Riman, I got to find out why they need Riman. You know what I mean? If I can find out why they need Riman, then I can paint them into the picture when I'm sharing with them the opportunity, okay? And then obviously, right, we're not recruiting, we're making friends, okay? You got to remember that. And you got to care more about the person, everybody knows, than the transaction. It's not about what you get out of it, it's about the person, okay? And then obviously, talk about destination more than you talk about, right, vehicle or the route to take, right? The example that I give is this, right? Vehicle, route, destination. What does that mean? What's going to motivate somebody? Destination, right? Not the route, not the vehicle, but the destination. It's like if I was going to invite you to Disneyland, I'm not going to talk, or Disney World, I'm not going to talk about, or the Disneyland or a Disney adventure, I'm not going to talk to a kid about the flight pattern or the vertical stabilizer on the airplane. You understand? I'm going to talk about Disney, right? I'm going to talk about what are you going to do when we get to Disney, right? And I'm going to find out what they like. If somebody doesn't like roller coasters and all I keep talking about is roller coasters, I'm not going to inspire somebody to want to go to Disney with me. But maybe they just want to go meet the characters. Somebody wants to go meet the characters. What am I talking to them about? Meeting the characters. Maybe they just want to walk down Main Street and they want to eat a bunch of food, right? Then guess what I'm going to talk to them about? How, being in that environment, whatever it is. But I've got to find out why they would want to go to Disneyland and know that I'm not talking about the route or the destination. Because too many people talk about the vehicle. They talk about Riman. Or they talk about the route to take, what needs to happen, but really what we need to talk more about is the destination, right? So obviously, secret to overcoming objections number 2, this is how you're going to get to director, is everybody communicates, but few people connect. Okay, this is a great book by John C. Maxwell. But how to master connection with people. Connecting with others begins with understanding and valuing people. So if you care about people and you value them, guess what? You can master connecting with them. But guess what, right? The ability to connect with others, okay, is one of the most important skills that, guess what, you can ever learn. You want to connect with people, right? You want to understand that if you really want to help people, connecting becomes more natural and less mechanical, right? It goes from being something that you merely do to becoming part of who you really are. I don't have to mechanically think about trying to find out what somebody's hot button is or connecting with them or trying to find out who they are as a person. You understand? I want to know who they are. I want to build a relationship with somebody because if I'm getting somebody started, the only reason why I'm getting them started is to get them to director. You understand? Get them director. I'm not getting them started for any other reason. I'm not getting somebody started to sell some products. I'm not selling hamburgers. I'm opening up McDonald's franchises. So I'm developing leaders. So I need to connect with people because they're going to be friends of mine for a long time. Understand that being in a hurry prevents us from connecting with others. Okay, you got to realize that in order to be effective, right? In order to be effective, you got to connect with people. So you got to slow down and not try to give them 100. You're saying, I'll talk next week. I'm talking about presenting, right? I'm going to really teach you guys. If you want to be a director, you got to be an effective presenter. So I'm going to really teach presentation skills, but because you guys have got to be doing one-on-ones. If you're like not prepared to do a one-on-one, we got an issue, right? You've got to be doing one-on-ones if you want to be a director. Okay. So everyone communicates, few connect, right? Here's one of from the books, right? From John C. Maxwell's book. He says, you don't have to be a high energy person or an extrovert to connect with people. You just simply must be willing to use whatever energy you have to focus on others and reach out to them. You understand? You don't have to be a high energy person to do this. You just got to care about people, right? And be willing to reach out to them. If you wait until you can do everything, okay, for everybody, right? If you wait until you can do everything for everybody instead of doing something for somebody, you will end up doing nothing for anybody. Okay, you're not going to be doing anything for anybody. Let me say it again. If you wait until you can do everything for everybody instead of something for somebody, you won't be doing anything for anybody. So what do we got to do? We just got to do a little bit. Do what you can. Do what you can with what you have, where you are, right? It's so important. Okay, so let's look at this. The people with whom we have the deepest connection are those that who acknowledge their weaknesses. So when you're talking to people, you're not trying to impress them. I'm going to talk more about this in communications next week on how to become an effective presenter. Okay, but you're not trying to impress people. You're trying to express your emotion for how you feel about the opportunity in order to get somebody to get excited about taking action. Okay, so here's this secret number 3. Questions are the answer. I'm going to take you guys through it today. Hopefully you guys are ready to learn, because like if I charge everybody $1,000 for this, guess what would happen? Everybody be taking more notes. And afterwards you say, man, that was worth it. I'm just telling you that you got to understand something. Like, just because I give this information to you for free, it doesn't lessen its value. You understand? I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for the result, to see you become successful. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's by Nicholas Boothman. It's called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. Nicholas Boothman, he wrote some good ones, but this is his best. Okay, these are 7 important reminders about questions. Questions are the spark plugs of a conversation. Okay, that's huge. If you're taking notes, you want to write that down. Questions are the spark plugs of conversations. You have 2 ears and a mouth, and 1 mouth for a reason. You want to listen twice as much as you talk. Okay, you want to answer a question with a question to let people know that you're listening. So if somebody asks me a question, I'm going to answer it with a question. I'm going to repeat the question back to them, right? And I'm going to answer it, and then I'm going to end it with a question. You understand? Like, you got to master questions. There's open door questions that you've got to be the master of. Okay, open door questions encourage people to share more information, right? Closed door questions are basically yes or no questions. Are you, do you, have you, all that stuff. But open door questions are what, when, where, why, how. When you ask somebody a question like what, when, where, why, or how, it's going to elicit more than a yes or no response. So if I say to somebody, what would you do with an extra $5,000 a month? Now I get them thinking. But if I say to somebody, would you like to make an extra $5,000 a month? They're not thinking. You understand? You're trying to elicit a response. It's how you end up painting people into the picture. I'm going to teach this next week. Okay. So you guys, hopefully you guys get a little bit of this before next week's presenter training, but closed door questions have limited responses. Get into what people are saying, right? This is so good. Spoken feedback, physical feedback. Spoken feedback sounds like this. Yes. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Oh, that's good. I'm with you on that 100%. That's how you want to be responding when people are talking. And then this is how you get into what people are saying. Spoken feedback, right? Now, physical feedback is nodding your head. Even if I'm on the phone, I'm nodding my head. I've got facial expressions, right? Because people can feel that on the phone, okay? So physical feedback and spoken feedback. Physical feedback, you're nodding your head, you're getting into what people are saying, you're making eye contact, you're smiling. Whoa, you understand? That's how you get into what people are saying, right? So stop talking and start asking, right? That's magic, okay? Stop talking and start asking. I'm giving you guys like the good stuff, man. This is next level. Now, there's one of my favorite books is by Deborah Fine. Okay, it's called The Fine Art of Small Talk. She talks about basically mastering icebreakers. Best way to do that is using form, right? Bring me up to date on. That's a good one. Bring me up to date on what's going on with someone. Like when you say bring me up to date on, that's magic, right? How often do you say bring me up to date on when you're talking to somebody? What's been going on with work since I last saw you? Okay. What has changed in your life since the last time since we spoke last, right? You know, how's your year been, right? What's new with your family? Like it, you got to get good at icebreakers, right? Getting good at icebreakers and then getting into what people are saying. For example, when I'm recruiting somebody, for example, right, recruiting using a question, where do you work? How long have you worked there, right? And you don't ask it back to back. It's like, where do you work? And they're like, I work at da 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 da. And I'm like, oh man, you work over at da 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 da. How long have you been working over at da 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 da? Right? What do you like best about working at da 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 da? Right? And then I'm getting into it. I'm like, oh, I like this. I'm like, oh man, so you like blah 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 blah. What do you like least about working over at blah 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 blah? Right? Oh man, let me ask you this question. If I could give you, and I'm going to basically take, if I give you more of what you like and avoid what you dislike, would you be interested? They're going to say yes every time. It's like when people are like, oh, I'm having trouble recruiting. It's like, what are you saying to people? Right? If you ask, like, this right here is so easy to do, is to ask people what they're doing, how long they've been there, what they like about it, what they dislike about it, and then ask them if you could show them a way to get more of what they like and avoid what they dislike, but not use those words, get into what they're saying. Are they going to be interested? Every time, right? So you got to use your icebreakers, right, to be able to connect with people. Now, this is the secret number 4. Okay, this is a great one. You're going to love this one. Okay, you want to welcome objections. Look, if you're working with somebody and they're not running. Okay, if somebody's not running, there's an objection they're holding on in their mind, right? Would you rather know what that is, or would you rather them not tell you what that is and just sit there and never do anything, right? You understand? You have to realize that if I'm signing somebody up and they're not running right away, what does that tell me? There's something they're hanging on to that's an objection in their mind that they've created that I need to remove. How can I got to find out what that is. It's like, imagine like a floodgate, right? You understand, like a dam or something like that, right? A dam that like holds water, and then you open the floodgates and the water comes out. It's like people have in their mind a dam, like you understand, like a floodgate that they got that's closed. Once you open the floodgates, the water rushes through. Okay, so how do you open the floodgates? You have to find out what objection they're hanging on to for not moving forward. So easy. It's I don't want to say it's easy, but once you master it, it's easy. Okay. So you want objections. Okay. Objections are buying signs, not rejection signs. You understand? Like when somebody has an objection and you find out what it is, all you know now is that you've got to destroy that objection, annihilate it, remove it. And then guess what happens? They're going to move forward. It's easy, right? It's easy, but you can't be afraid of an objection. Somebody's like, they said no. Somebody said no. What'd they say no about? Did they say no to making more money or looking sexier? Right? It's like, did you, and then if they're like, I don't want to make any more money, it's like, what, and if it's maybe they don't want to take advantage of the opportunity, you got to find out why. And it just for my sake, just so I know, because I'm still learning, what is it that when I shared the information with you, what was it that made you go, you know what? I don't think this is for me. Boom. And I find out, remove it. Oh, okay, cool. And then I jump on their side, become an assistant buyer, moving forward, right? So you understand, objections are a natural process in the decision-making process, and it gives us knowledge to where to spend more time. So it's a natural process in the decision-making process. Understand objections are good, okay? There's a great book by Jed Blunt about objections. This is what he talks about. An objection is simply a sign that a person is seriously interested in the business. Okay, if somebody's giving you an objection on why they don't want to move forward, that means they want to move forward, but they're asking you for help. You understand? Like when people complain to you, they're asking you to help them remove that objection so they can be like you. Some people are like, man, I hate when people complain, dude. It's annoying. It's like, dude, they're trying to get you to remove that objection out of their mind so they can run. You don't have any compassion in your heart. Like, I love complainers. Because when somebody's complaining to me, that tells me they want to be successful, but they're hanging on to something stupid in their mind that's stopping them. You understand? And all I have to do is annihilate that objection and they're going to move forward. It's not, you understand? Like, and it might not be stupid, but it really is. It's like there's no reason for not having a better quality of lifestyle. There's not, you know what I mean? Like in my mind. So for me, it's like, I just got to find out what that complaint is and remove it, and they're going to run. You understand? Like, it's so basic, guys. It's like being successful in business is not that difficult, okay? Most objections are misunderstandings that need to be addressed or questions that need to be answered. You understand? Like when people have an objection in their mind for not moving forward, whether it's being a customer, being a planner, or moving forward as business partners, you've got to find out what that is and destroy it. It's destroying the objection, annihilating it. Like I annihilate objections, right? I completely remove them, obliterate them, I think is a word. I don't even know if that's a word, but there's no new objections. There's not any new objections. It's not like somebody's over here manufacturing new objections, right? Everybody's got objections. Remove them, right? There's gonna be if somebody like look if there wasn't objections, we wouldn't have any job security. You understand? As a leader, you've got to understand it's not like people just automatically sign up and then they become successful. Do you understand? Like people think like, oh man, we can automate network marketing. Dude, you can't automate it because you've got to connect with people in order to be able to remove their objections. They're not going to watch a video and remove objections. You understand? You've got to do it. Like it's like you got to pull the weeds out of the garden. You understand? So there's not any new objections. You understand? So when you hear an objection or you hear a complaint or you hear anything that's in somebody's mind that's slowing them down from moving forward, you have to annihilate it. And if you hear the same one over and over and over again, that means you're not doing an adequate job at removing that at some point in the presentation. Whether it's the presentation or when you launch somebody, it's another presentation. That's why I'm talking about presentations next week. It's a presentation to get somebody to move into action. Okay. This stuff, like if I wish you could see it the way I see it, you'd be like, oh my God, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, but you'd be like, this is dude. But it's repeat the objection, jump on their side and become an assistant buyer. You're not arguing with people. You understand? And you're not making people feel stupid about having a stupid objection. Okay. It's human nature. You understand? To have these like little signs in our brain that stop us from taking action. You understand? And you have to remove them in order for people to move forward. Like there's no other way around it. I'm always removing objections from people. Even my top money earners in my organization, I do that. Like I have to spend time at removing objections in their minds. Don't think like just because somebody's a senior director or a director that I don't have to still do this, right? You have to do this all the time. It never ends. You understand? This is like a never-ending process. It's like parenting, basically. It's like basically like parenting. No matter how old my kids are, I'm always going to be parenting them. You know what I mean? Like, and you do that sometimes not by necessarily having a direct confrontation with them, but sharing some information or sharing a story, right? We were yesterday. We were at Disneyland for my granddaughter's birthday. 2 days ago on Wednesday, and it was like I'm just telling stories all the time because there's so many stories at Disneyland. Like Doritos was started at Disneyland. You know what I mean? It was like the story's unbelievable about Doritos. It's like a great story. It's like I'm telling my kids about it, right? My wife's like, would you stop telling these damn stories, right? What do you got next? Art link letter is coming. I'm like, oh, you know it is. So it's like I love all these stories because just the Doritos story, they were throwing away the tortilla chips. And the guy that was selling the tortillas to him said, hey, fry them and put some seasoning on them and sell them as chips. And that's where Doritos started from. Is out of the Mexican restaurant there, right? The one that it's got a different name now, but it's the same one, right? It's like, dude, it's like there's so many great stories. And then you think about that. It's like the guy took trash that they were throwing away and turned it into $1 billion idea. It's like, what? That's amazing. So why are cushions mandatory? If you're taking notes, you got to write down cushions. You're never going to, I promise you this, and I don't think anybody that's successful in this profession would debate me on this. You'll never master overcoming objections if you don't master using cushions. Cushions are the most important piece, in my professional opinion, in this profession about like, just when I talk to people, I'm just naturally a cushion expert. That's why people like to talk to me because I'm like, dude, I'm good at cushions, making people feel okay. So let me explain cushions like this. I love using the analogy that Zig Ziglar does in The Secret of Closing the Sale. He says, sympathy means you feel like another person feels. Empathy means you understand how they feel, but you don't feel the same way. Okay. So you got to be empathetic, not sympathetic to be successful. Okay. So let me explain to you the difference. Okay. The difference is like the best example that Zig Ziglar gives is if you see somebody throwing up on the side of a ship because maybe they're seasick, my wife gets seasick, right? And if I saw her throwing up and I started going, wait a second, I'm kind of feeling a little queasy too. And I joined her, started throwing up over the side of the deck. Is that helping her out at all? No. So instead of having sympathy for her and being like, oh my God, I kind of feel sick too, I have empathy. I say, oh my God, let me go get some Dramamine. Let me pinch this little pressure point on your hand. Let me hold your hair. That's having empathy. So you want to be empathetic. I know how you feel. Let me get you some Dramamine, some water, right? Hold your hair, right? That's empathetic. Sympathetic is, oh my God, I kind of feel sick too. Let me throw up next to you. You understand? As a leader, you got to be empathetic, not sympathetic. You have to know how somebody feels so you can jump on their side and move them in the right direction, okay? It's not confrontation like this. It's let me go to where you are so I can take you to where you need to be, okay? It's like holding a kid's hand when they're crossing the street. That's magic. It's like holding a kid's hand when they cross the street. That's what you're doing as a leader, okay? Think of them as a little kid crossing a busy street. They don't know how to do it. So you grab them by the hand and you walk them right across the street. Make sure they don't get hit by a car, obviously. You know what I mean? Including yourself. So here it is. This is how to win friends and influence people. Dale Carnegie. I have a whole training on this. I should do it sometime. Actually, I'm going to put that down. I'm going to do that, okay? This is the 8 keys to understanding a cushion, okay? Be over the top with your listening skills. You got to be over the top. Like when I'm listening to somebody, I try to get them to talk. If I can get them to talk, I can listen to what I need to talk to them about to get them in the business. Okay. Once you can get somebody to open up and talk to you, you can get them in the business. Okay. And then once you get somebody to open up and talk, you can get them in production. Okay. So a cushion is a statement that acknowledges that you're listening to the prospect, right? That you're listening to the person, that you're listening to them. Okay. Hear the objection and recognize the importance when a prospect states an objection. Your first action should be to use a cushion on the objection. Okay. A cushion does not agree with somebody, it does not disagree with somebody, and it doesn't answer the objection. It just lets them feel good about sharing that information, okay? Because if you get into a confrontation and argument with people, it's not happening, right? Nobody's winning. You're like destroying a relationship, okay? So by showing empathy, you create more of a positive and trusting relationship, okay? Like, let me give you an example. By showing empathy, you create more of a positive and trusting relationship with your prospect. Remember, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a relationship. So when you have a cushion, cushions are everything. The number one thing people want more than anything else is to be understood. Okay. They want to be heard and understood. So be sure to listen to the objection. Even though I've heard it 1,000 times, I'm making them feel like that's the most exciting thing I've ever heard in my life. You understand? You have to make people feel good about the objection. Now, when you're in the presentation, you can annihilate it. But when it's a one-on-one situation, you can't annihilate the presentation. You understand? Because now you're in a conversation with somebody. When I'm going through a presentation, I can remove objections like crazy and annihilate them. So when I get to the end of the presentation, it's a yes. When I'm launching a brand new person, in order to get them to move forward, if I know what their hesitation is or whatever objection they're hanging on to in their mind for not moving forward, and I annihilate it in the basically the presentation I give, they're going to move forward. You're looking to annihilate objections. Okay. So wait until they're done. Be sure to listen like you've never heard it before. Wait till they're done sharing. Don't cut people off. Jesus, don't cut people off. Right. And then use a cushion. You don't react. You're not like, you hear a cushion and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? You don't panic. You just sit there with total confidence. That's where experience comes in. Like when you've been doing this for 30 years, like I have, I've heard so many objections. But I make people feel like their objection is special. Oh my God, I appreciate that concern. Like, thank you for sharing that with me. Dude, I totally understand, man. That's huge, right? Like, I know how you feel. Dude, that's how I was. Like, I don't do like feel, felt, found. I know everybody knows feel, felt, found. That's like original, like the original basic first grade. Like, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I know how you feel. A lot of people felt like that. The feel, felt, found thing. I do it, but I do it over the top. Like, man, like if it's like somebody's like, I got to talk to my husband. I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, that was me. I was like, oh my God, I got to talk to my husband. I don't have a husband. You understand? I have a wife. I could say that, but it's like, for me, it's like, I'm like, look, like, that's how I am. Like, you're the type of person like me. Like, that's how I was. Like, I was like, dude, if I do something and I don't talk to my wife, like, literally, I'm not going to get any kissy time. Like, my wife's going to be like, what? You know what I mean? That's how my wife is. Then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? I've been married for 30 years. And every time I've ever made a major decision, I always realize it's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. Right? So I just said, you know what? I'm going to do it. My wife's going to always support me. She loves me. Boom. You know what I mean? Like bam, right? So you're jumping on their side, becoming an assistant buyer. That's the best example I can give you. Understand them, jump on their side, become assistant buyer. Never, ever, ever argue with somebody, okay? And never be upset when an objection comes. You understand? Like an objection tells you everything you need to know that you're not doing an adequate job of removing in the presentation. Like I can't wait to teach you guys presentation skills next week. Okay, here's number 6. Why are cushions mandatory? Okay. This is why cushions, they help them overcome their objection. Cushions are mandatory. Okay. Let's say your product, oh, it costs too much. Somebody tells you that. What do you say? Oh, no. Like, what are you going to do? Just cry? No, you're going to use a cushion. Like, oh my God. Like, oh, okay. Like, when I looked at these products, I was like, man, these products, they're not cheap. I'll tell you that, right? We're not looking to produce cheap products. It's not Jergens lotion. But for me, it's like, does my face deserve Jergens lotion or does my face deserve the very best, right? How many faces do I have? Right? I only got one. Are there products cheaper than ours? Yeah, there are. But we wanted to use the best ingredients there are. We got 22 patents on our different ingredients. We microfluidize our product. We could charge less and not microfluidize it. We could charge less, and instead of grow our own byung pool in a controlled AI environment, we could buy dry byung pool like Dr. Jarts. You know what I mean? Right? I'm not gonna smack Jarts, but I'm just saying. You guys get what I'm saying? It's like, but we want to produce the best quality products at an affordable price. Once you use the products, it's like, look, you're going to fall in love with them. Boom, remove it, right? I'm happy with the current skincare that I use. And I'm like, oh, so you love your current skincare, huh? It's great. Yeah. Tell me about it. What product do you use? Yeah. Hey, I was pumped. Like whenever I first heard about Riman, I'm like, I'm not using no. I was selling skincare for crying out loud. I'm not going to use nobody else's cream. I had my own cream I was selling. You think you're happy with who you were with? I was so happy with it, I sold $1 billion worth of it. So I was jacked out of my mind about my product. But it was my wife that made me try the product. And once I tried the product, I was like, what is this magical stuff? I had to call my buddy up and be like, what is this stuff? And then he shared me the story of the products. And I fell in love with them. So I know that you're like, I understand totally being happy with what you're with because nobody was happier than me with their products. Okay. But I'm telling you, you know, your skin looks amazing. It really does. But however, like when you try our products, okay, you won't ever want to use another product again. Okay. And honestly, think about it. Like, look, you have a 30-day money back guarantee. So you got nothing to lose but a few wrinkles. Let's get you some of this product, right? You know, boom. And let's get right into the close. I just bought some other products. I just bought some skincare, right? You just bought some skincare? Yeah. And they're going to be like, yeah, I just bought some. But what'd you buy? You did? How you liking it so far? It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, hey, like, that's how I was, man. Like, I was literally, I was selling it. I was selling another skincare product. And I had bought tons of it because I love to have it on, I always have inventory on me. But when I tried this product, whew, I was like, I can't, my face deserves this. Okay. It's like, look, as soon as you start using our products, so you'll wish you would have found this 5 years ago. With our money back guarantee, if you aren't satisfied, you can get your money back. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Let's go. Let's get you some of this stuff. Move forward, close the deal, right? I'm a guy. Why would I do this? Like, I was just talking to earlier today with one of our team leaders in the UK about this. She's like, how do I approach guys? Annihilate it right away. If I was a female talking to a guy, the first thing I would say is, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, why in the world would I sell skincare? I'm a guy. Why would I want to get in the beauty industry, right? I would just, anytime I've gotten something I need, I throw it out there when I talk to people. Like, I'm an ugly dude selling beauty products. Hello? Like, why in the world would I want to listen to you, right? It's like, that's probably what you're thinking. Like, why in the world would I listen to an ugly guy about beauty products? Boom. And then I just move forward, right? So you understand, like when I'm talking to a guy, it's easy for me because I'm a dude. But what I told her, I said, like, man, I would annihilate that objection before you ever get to it, right? It's like disarming a bomb before it goes off, but you use a cushion. Like, I totally know how you are. Like, I totally know how you feel. Like, if I was you, like, seriously, like, if I was like, I'd be like, why would I want to do this? And then I asked, like, the top money earner in the company, I said, Tim, why do you do this? And he was like, well, 9 out of the top 10 of the largest beauty companies in the world were all started by men. The only one that wasn't was Estee Lauder, and her husband started it together. Why do you think so many men started these companies? Because if you're going to sell products, who do you want to sell it to? You want to sell something that women want to buy. And then when he said that to me, I was like, man, that makes sense. Maybe I need to talk to more guys about this. You understand? Like, don't be afraid to talk to guys. You understand? Or think, oh my God, I got to connect them only with Tim. Like, dude, just trust me. Annihilate that objection right away. Okay. I need to think about it. It's like, oh, you need to think about it. Like, man, I'm the type of person, like, I like to think things through too, right? I mean, I'm like, last thing I want to do is just hurry into something, rush into something, right? I mean, is that how you are? Hey, I totally get it. That's I kind of operate that way too, man. But the best way to think about something is let's think about it together, right? What is it that you need to think about, right? Is it making more money, having more free time, getting more compliments? Like, what is it that you kind of are like need to think more about? And then just let them talk and then annihilate the objections. It's usually 3 or 4 objections removed, right? It's not usually the first one. Okay. I hope you're getting this stuff. I'm not good at sales, or I don't know anything about skincare. It's kind of like this. I tell them, like, look, when I got into skincare, I mean, it's like, once again, you could just use my story, right? Number one money in the company, I work with him directly. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, when he got into skincare, he didn't do anything but lick his lips. That was the extent of his skincare regimen. Like, literally, I had never put a lotion on my body in my life. And I got started in the skincare business. You understand? Like, the only thing I'd ever done was lick my lips when they get chapped, right? So, but the reality that I know about business is this. I write with my right hand. What about you? And they'll be like, oh, I write with my left or my left. Like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you write very well with the other hand? They're going to be like, no. I said, look, my mentor asked me this. He goes, you write with your left hand? I said, no. And he said, look, if I paid you $100,000 a week, would you learn to write with your left hand? I said, for $100,000 a week, I'll write with my feet. You know what I mean? Because if the money's right, I'll do it. So the question I got for you is this. We have a system that will teach you the business. Why don't we get you started? We'll show you how to do this thing. Boom, done. It sounds too good to be true. Use the cushion. Oh my, same thing. Hammer the cushion. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Or I totally get where you're coming from. Like, that's literally what I thought too. But isn't it true? That's what we dream of. Obviously, successful people have the ability to recognize opportunities, while people that are average, they can't recognize opportunities. Okay. Would you like to be successful? Then you got to recognize this opportunity, right? That's what I said. That's why I got started. Now it's going to take work. We're going to have to talk to people. But guess what? It's fun to talk to people because they're going to fall in love with these products, right? So I've seen this kind of thing before. It's like, there's never been anything like this before, but you can't hammer them with that. Remember, you got to use a cushion, jump on their side, be an assistant buyer, right? It's like, man, I totally get where you're coming from. Like, like, I've been around direct sales for 30 years. So I thought that I've seen it all. So I was a little hesitant to even look at this thing. You imagine being in this profession for 30 years. Like, I've looked at it all. But when I looked at Riman, I said to myself, wait a second, there's never been anything like this before, right? A company with 22 patents, a company that manufactures their own products in an AI-controlled environment. They've created their own smart farm for it. I was like, man, there's never been anything like this ever in the history of direct selling. So guess what? I got excited about this because I'm like, there's nothing like this, right? But it's like, look, bottom line is this, man. We've seen lottery tickets before, right? But we're not going to win the lottery if we don't buy one, right? You got to participate in your own rescue. Right? So looking at a company like this or seeing something like this is not going to get us where we need to be. We got to take action. Let's get you started so we can start making you some serious money. It's like, boom, let's go. Right? It's a pyramid scam. You don't really get that anymore. Like, that's not really maybe, but that's hard to find people that are like that, not that smart. But you will find them, but very rarely. 30 years ago, I heard that probably at least, what? 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Like, it was like a common thing. Nowadays, people are pretty smart to direct sales, right? It's like the industry's huge. like what is it, like 1 in every 10 homes in America has a direct seller. Like 50% of the people in the country buy products from direct sellers. So the industry is not really like that anymore. But you might hear that if you talk to an older person that really is not really up to the times. But I just ask them, what's a pyramid? And I just wait for them to respond. And then what I realize is they don't know what it is. You understand? Somebody's not like, well, let me explain to you what a pyramid is, right? Is you get started as a freshman, you bring in 2 people as sophomores, then they become juniors, and then all the freshmen that come in, the money goes to the senior. Like, I understand what a gifting board is, aka a pyramid. Like, I know what a pyramid is. They don't. 99% of you've heard that objection before, but you don't really know what a pyramid is. But it's like I know what a pyramid is. Like, I know what they call it, a gifting board, but it's basically a pyramid scam, right? So it's like, I just ask them, what is a pyramid? And just wait for them to talk. Okay. And I say, obviously, obviously Riman's in direct sales industry, right? Warren Buffett, one of the world's most well-known billionaires, owns a direct sales company. So direct selling is not really it's not really an industry that's really scrutinized anymore. Obviously we know direct sales is not a pyramid, right? Let's face it. The wealthiest investor in the world, Warren Buffett's not going to get involved in a pyramid scam, right? So we know that this industry is legit. Right? The question is not so much, is this industry legit? The question really is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And just get right back to it. Like, look, what's happened the last 5 years that you think something's going to change in the next 5 years? Because nothing changed if nothing changes. You understand? So I just let people talk and I listen to them, and I don't debate and argue with people, because usually they'll say like, well, the people at the top make all the money. And I'll be like, oh yeah. Like when I used to work at Boomers, there was a guy that was above me. He made more money than me. And then our manager made more money that he was above him. He made more money than him. And then the owner was at the top, made the most money. Like that to me, like sounds like what you're talking about, right? Boomers isn't a pyramid, is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on, dude. Like people don't really think, okay, I don't have time, right? Use a cushion, right? Boom. I know there's about 168 hours a week. What do you do with your time? Just grab a pen and paper and write it all out, right? It's like, that's easy. And you talk it over with my spouse, how long you've been married, right? Then, it's easier to beg for forgiveness, ask for permission. All these things I don't have many friends, right? You only need couple good ones, right? If you had a wedding, how many people show up? If you had a funeral, how many people show up? Hopefully at least 6, because it takes 6 to carry a casket. Ha ha ha. You know what I mean? Like, overcoming his objections is easy. I don't have 1671. So 1671 is a lot of money. It's like, how many years have been working? And if you're, how many years have been working? Just wait. It's like, if you haven't saved up $1,671, it's probably time to find something, you probably do something about that, right? You know what I mean? If I told you I'd give you a new Mercedes-Benz for $1,671, how would you get the money? You can find the money. It's not the money. It's doing what, right? It's finding the value, right? I mean, we can all find $1,671. You know what I mean? Like, so you're not debating with them. Once again, use a cushion, jump on their side, be an assistant buyer. All right. Why don't you put the 1671 in for me? It's like, obviously Riman works. I just don't know if you're going to work, right? I'm giving you a chance, but if you don't believe in yourself enough to put 1671, why would I put it in for you? Right? It's like, you got to be serious, right? But once again, if you use a cushion and you're not trying to get into a debate session, you jump on their side. Don't be afraid of the objections, right? I'm satisfied with my income. I like what I do, right? It's how much money have you saved for a rainy day, right? Use the cushion. I know how you felt the same way. Hey, look, I'm the type of guy, anytime I do something, I love it. I don't do something unless I love it, right? Doing the dishes, I love it, right? Anything I do, whatever my hands find to do, I do it with all my strength, do it with all my power, do it with all my might. That's what my book says. So I'm the same way, man. I totally are. But let me ask you this: how much have you saved for a rainy day? We could all use a little bit of cash, right? Hey, when you're driving down you're driving down the street in your car, you have a spare tire in your trunk, don't you? Just in case, right? So second stream of income is not going to be a bad idea, is it? Okay, let's get you started. It's like just standing your ground. I'm not interested. What are you not interested in? More money, having more free time. All these objections. The only people at the top make all the money. Where do you work at? Does your boss make more money than you? Does his boss make more money than him? Does his boss sit on the very top and make the most money? It's like, obviously, that sounds like the people at your top of your company make all the money. It's like, you understand? Let me do some research, right? It's like, let me help you with the research. What would you like to research? Let's research it together. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand, like, you just got to have a backbone, not a wishbone, right? Am I really going to make money, right? Only you can answer that question. You're going to get out of Riman what you put into it. But obviously the person I'm working with making a ton of money, and they're going to help us make a ton of money too, right? Let's do it together, right? It's like, how much do you make, right? Next 30 days, my goal is to earn this. But obviously you can't cash my checks. I'm excited about the income that we can make together. Let's do it. Let's show you how to do it. It's like, you understand? Like, you can't be afraid of any objection. Like, oh my God, I'll get started if my friends get started first. Oh no, they just said that to me. What do I say? That's you got to know in your mind that's stupid. Like, to wait till your friends, it's like there's no, if I know that an objection is stupid, I don't have to talk to them like they're stupid. But an objection is stupid. Doesn't mean they're stupid, but every objection to me is stupid. There's no reason not to get started in Riman, in my personal opinion. You understand? Now, it doesn't mean if somebody doesn't agree with me that we're going to, that's fine. But in my mind, I'm 100% in. So when I talk to people, right, it's like, it's hard to debate. You understand? It's like, you're not going to get into a debate session with me because I've heard your objection before. I'm going to jump on your side. I'm going to get you to see it the way that I see it. It's like looking through binoculars that are blurry, right? I'll get started. My friends get started. We know that's not smart. Realize by doing that, you're going to get, they're going to get in before you're going to get in, right? You're going to, your team is, you're going to end up on their team. They're not going to end up on yours because they're going to get started before you. We're looking for courageous people. Courageous people take this, make decisions first. Let's go. Let's do this together. MLM is saturated. It's like, obviously you'd agree with me that there's 350 million people in the United States. Obviously we just need to find a few good people. It's like, that's just a silly thing, right? So the key to overcoming objections is not to be afraid of any. When I'm working with somebody who's like, you're going to hear people complain. It's like, there's this website selling it for $50 less, 5 cents less. It's like they're free shipping. It's like, dudes, nobody, like, you understand? Like, that is not, is that, if there's something like that going on, is that happening for me too? Yes, it's happening for me too. But am I still making it happen? Yes. Why? Because nothing can get in my way mentally. You understand? It's not like some people like to complain because they're addicted to complaining. You understand that? That's just the way that some people are. There's a book called The Art of Happiness by a good friend of mine. He passed away. His name's Chris Prentice. I know the guy. I knew him extremely well. His stepson was one of my best friends. I used to go to his yacht all the time. He was involved in my last business with me before he passed away. Great friend of mine, okay? And the book, In the Art of Happiness, he talks about how people are addicted to certain behaviors. Some people are addicted to complaining. You understand that? That's just a reality. But most people's complaints are something that they're looking, and they bring it to you. They're looking for you to completely annihilate that objection so they can move forward. Some people are like, I hate complainers. It's like, I don't. I need complainers, because if I know what somebody's complaint is, I'm not destroying that in my training. You understand? I'm not destroying that. If I destroy that in my training, guess what? That objection's gone. They're not going to use that as complaint. So you got to get good at understanding that objections and excuses and complaints are just, the way my mentor said it, he's like, it's basically like a lack of oxygen to the brain temporarily. You understand? But you just got to jump on their side, make them feel okay about it, and then completely remove it and inject them with confidence. You can't be like, oh my God, I heard this complaint 5 times. It's like, then you are not, it's probably in your head too, and you're probably a weak leader. But if you're a strong leader and somebody has a complaint, you annihilate it. It's like, there's no excuse that is going to stop me from making $1 million a month of this opportunity. Now, I'm not making $1 million a month now, and I'm not guaranteeing you making $1 million a month. I'm not giving an income claim or anything like that. I'm just telling you, in my mind, that's what I believe. You understand? Everybody's performance is, everybody's own income is going to be based on their performance. I'm not giving any income claims. Understand that, okay? But what I'm telling you is that whatever, like, I know in my mind, nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to get in my way. And that type of confidence is going to attract strong people. But if I'm like, oh God, I hope this works, and I'm a little bit of like my toe is in, I'm a toe dipper, I'm not going to inspire, a toe dipper is not going to inspire somebody to dive in the pool, okay? So you got to be on. So you got to raise and transfer your belief. I'm going to wrap this thing up here, okay? Basically, it's very simple, okay? Love the products, transfer the emotion, you're going to get new customers. Love the opportunity, share the emotion, you're going to get new planners. Love work in the business, you're going to inspire and motivate your team. I just love it, right? So what we want to realize is this: people will be afraid not to join you if they know that you know where you're going, right? Confidence is contagious, but so is lack of confidence, right? People don't care where you are right now, they care where you're going. So you want to be a tour guide, not a travel agent. Take people by the hand and get them to where they need to be. Overcoming objections doesn't stop once you get started, okay? Or when somebody buys products. You're always consistently, always overcoming objections. And confidence, in my opinion, is going after Moby Dick in a rowboat and taking the tartar sauce with you. I was telling my kids this story at Disneyland, right? That you guys know who this guy is? If you're Australian, you do, right? I don't know if my Aussies are on here today. They might be at the convention, the Asian convention. But this guy right here, his name's Cliff Young. Okay, Cliff Young. Cliff Young in 1983, Australia hosted an ultra marathon, a 573-mile foot race between Sydney and Melbourne. Professionals from all over the world that came to participate. A 61-year-old farmer, a nobody who was laughed at, that they didn't even want to let him enter the race, named Cliff Young won. When the race started, everybody left Cliff behind, smoked him. He was left behind. 5 days, 14 hours, and 4 minutes later, at 1:25 a.m., Cliff Young won the race. 10 hours ahead of the number 2 person, who was a professional, and he was a 61-year-old farmer. How'd he win? Cliff Young used to chase his 2,000 sheep on foot for 2 or 3 days at a time on his 2,000-acre farm. Other runners would run 18 hours and sleep 6, but he didn't know that you're allowed to sleep. So he ran the entire race because he didn't understand that he was supposed to sleep like everybody else. And he imagined chasing his sheep in a lightning storm. That's what kept him going. He never stopped because he said, it's just like my sheeps are out there. Stu wouldn't stop for 2 or 3 days if there was a lightning storm because he didn't want any of his sheep to get hurt. This dude is no joke. And when he won, he felt like he cheated because he didn't ever stop. He didn't sleep. So he took the 10,000 that he earned as for winning, and he gave it to number 2 through 6 because he thought that he cheated. He felt like he cheated because he just didn't stop. Sometimes you just got to stop, not stop. So here's a call to action, right? What's it going to take for you to get 5 guests on the Monday Opportunity Overview with Christy Bellison? You guys already know Christy Bellison knows how to lay it down. Get people on that, okay? Christy's going to blow it up Monday. Think about this. Get a new planner to get started and get that 7-day senior manager promo. Focus in on getting somebody that promo. Get somebody, get registered. If you're not registered for Vegas, okay, look, there's a QR code right here. Do it now. I'm telling you, do it now. You know how good you're going to feel by taking action? Scan that QR code and get registered. You're going to feel like a champion, okay? And then rank advance a team leader before May 1st. Let's run. Let's just do it. Now, you guys know next week we're going to be doing a training called Be an Effective Presenter in order for you to be able to become a director, okay? Next Friday's training is going to be unbelievable. But I'm challenging you now to step up. I'm challenging you now to give it everything that you got, okay? To go all in. To decide right now that this is it, right? That this is my time, that I'm going to make it happen, that nothing can stop me, that nothing can get in my way, that over, under, or through, I'm going to win. This is it. I'm going to be unstoppable. I'm not going to accept any excuses. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm going all in. If you just decide like that, you become unstoppable. That's it. It's not that difficult. But if you have some excuse that you're making in your mind on why you're not going to move forward, you've got to eliminate that. You have to annihilate that. Do you think I have that same objection? Do you think if you told me that, I would say, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should stop working so hard? Nope. You're not going to convince me. There's nothing that you're going to come up with that's going to convince me that I shouldn't run like I'm running right now. So if I'm convinced and you're convinced not to run, who's right? Either me or you. Huh, right? So I'm telling you, jump on my side. Run with me. Let's do this. Let's go on this Riman adventure together. Let's go on this journey together. Let's go climb Mount Everest at the same time. I'm telling you, I already climbed it, right? It took us 6 months to hit national director. I can't hit any more positions. I've been begging Danny to add another one. I go, Danny, come on, man. Give me something else to do. Because all I'm doing now is just grabbing people and trying to pull people to the top with me. Trying to convince people, hey, come to the top. Come to the top position with me. I'm telling you. Come with me. Let's run together. Let's go all in. How do we do it? How do you do it? Just do it.